Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Talking travel, and look, I don't know if you've tried booking a flight recently, but if you do, you'll know the price is enough to take your breath away, even on the less fancy airlines. You know, it used to be that you could generally expect to find a reasonably priced flight if you were prepared to be flexible, if you could book far in advance, if you could choose to fly on a less popular day, or maybe out of working hours. But these days, even the so-called red eyes are really eye-wateringly expensive. So today we thought we'd call in an expert to talk to us about whether there are still strategies you can implement to optimize even a little bit of saving on what has become a very expensive purchase. With me on the line is Linda Scott-Hayward, who is Senior Commercial Manager of online travel agency Travelstart. Great to have you with us, Linda. Welcome.
Thank you. You got me singing a little crowded house there, and the particular song was "Don't Dream It's Over." Now those days are like, at least it's a good one, isn't it?
It
and
really
so we can't
is.
dream that cheap travel is over. We can't let go of that dream. I mean, if this could be the theme song of this segment, we can't. It's still got to be chance and opportunity for a better deal somewhere.
You reassure me, Linda, because I've been starting to wonder if it's ever going to be possible again. And I was having a conversation last night about travel in my experience as somebody who was in a long distance relationship who used to commute between Joburg and Cape Town every 6 weeks and then every 5 weeks and then every 4. And when it got to every 3 weeks, one of us had to move. And so I did. But Linda, back then, and I'm going back a fair long way, but it was before the advent of the sort of the budget airlines. You didn't have much choice. It was SAA or I think BA. And that plane ticket literally took up a half, if not more, of my salary every month. Admittedly, I wasn't earning well, but it was a huge expense. And then suddenly we had this burst of the arrivals of the one-times and the Kalunas and the low-cost carriers, and it changed our expectations of how often we'd be able to fly and what we should pay. It kind of feels like I've come full circle again when we're suddenly going, it's no longer a proposition that you can embrace as lightly as we used to. What has happened? Talk us through what factors have played into that.
You know, it's sad to say because we get sick of using this as an excuse for many things in life, and not as an excuse. But, you know, before COVID, we had a good few more airlines flying, in particular domestically and internationally. But domestically was when we took the Joburg Cape Town route. Where we had the Kalulas, you mentioned those. We had the Mangos. We had all of those airlines. And so there were still options, and there was availability that you could find. Yeah. And then along came COVID, out went those airlines, up went fuel prices, and suddenly, you know, the airlines had free reign to. I don't want to say free reign. They had limited loads. Were flying far less frequently, and therefore prices went up. And now, to be honest, it seems that they are enjoying the ability to. Initially, it was to make back money after a couple of dry years, and now they don't really have to drop their pricing anymore to those days where you could get a 600-700 rand flight on the Joburg Cape Town route. It is still possible to get cheaper deals. There are still some tips and tricks. But it does go back to exactly as you said, and I remember being a young travel agent after university, where you had a 3-week advance purchase flight, and then you had a 2-week, and now, I mean, if you do not book your flights early, which I learned because I booked a flight for next week, it's actually sometimes cheaper to fly internationally than it is to fly within our own borders, which is a little bit depressing.
Sure, that's quite a sobering thought. So Linda, okay, so booking in advance does still help to some extent. I mean, if you know you're wanting to take the family overseas for a holiday, for example, does it still pay to book months in advance? Will you make a significant saving?
100%. 100%. And honestly, and I would encourage you, if anyone hasn't booked their December travel now, I know we all have, and let's always be filled with hope that there'll be a cheaper deal. I can tell you for Christmas period, December period, beginning of Jan, it's not going to, prices are not going to go down. Get on it immediately. You know, even your Easter travel next year, now you can still get you can get a good deal, so go for that. But really start looking at your Easter travel already. Definitely onto your December holidays, your January school holidays, and make that happen as quickly as possible for both domestic and international.
Okay.
There is also what we call the shoulder and low seasons, where you still can get a deal in November and October after school holiday period.
Yeah.
Also, the northern hemisphere is they all back to school and work and normality after their summer break. So there is opportunity in October, November, and then after January we get the FOMO travel. So from about mid-January onwards, the airlines will start opening up with some sales. But once again, those won't be for peak periods. So any sales that will be coming up, and I talk for myself, with Travelstart or anyone else, airline sales, they will always be offering cheaper deals for shoulder or low season traveling. So it's absolutely imperative. If you know your dates and you know that you want to, you know, your kids they're finishing exams, and when they finish, and you know you need to be back at work before the 15th of Jan, then it's time to get onto that now, really.
Linda, I think what makes some people delay is that the visa application for overseas travel, certainly, they won't let you book a visa application more than a certain number of months ahead of your trip, and that makes people nervous. How can I risk buying the ticket if I'm not convinced I'm going to have the visa, etc.? In a case like that, is it worth perhaps paying a little extra for a flexible kind of booking that allows you a change just in case? I mean, it's still worth. Do you think it's worth taking that risk?
I would say two things. Yes, it would be. And also, I would think it's, you know, it takes, I don't want to say it takes a lot for visas to be declined, but if you book your flights now and have to do a day change, it could easily be cheaper to do a day change instead of actually booking your flights when your visa comes through.
Right.
Because a lot of the time now, visas are coming through at the last second, even though you've given a long period. So there's many destinations where you've got about 8-9 months of submitting your visa, and they will only look at it 2 weeks before. So if you're going to wait for your flights, it's actually better. You can book flights up to 11 months in advance. Now, I don't know what I'm doing next week, so I really applaud anyone who knows what they're doing in 11 months. But it is honestly, it's going to be more affordable making a day change than booking at the last minute.
Okay. Before we must wrap, Linda, I think everybody knows by now that there's certain times of day that are in demand for travel because business commuters are flying up for meetings. So you know you're going to pay a premium for an 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. flight, for example.
Yes.
Are there any days of the week that are cheaper to fly? We know there are hours of the day where it's a little bit more affordable. Does that apply to days of the week as well?
Absolutely. Saturday mornings, hot tip. Saturday mornings are the most affordable anytime on Saturday. Midweek flights definitely are midweek flights out of business travel periods.
Okay.
So probably after 9 o'clock you could find a good deal. Also, if you are okay with traveling for both internationally and domestically on holidays, so flying on a Christmas day, I know it's a special family time, but if you are desperate for that deal, that's where you will find more affordable rates, or on a public holiday itself. But really to avoid the Thursday evening to Sunday, early Monday travel, is that's over Thursday, Friday, and again Sunday, Monday. That's going to be your heaviest period with commuters in particular.
Yeah.
So Saturdays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday is I would recommend you look for flights over those days and out of peak travel times. So definitely advisable on that, and just keep your eyes on deals. Sometimes one just has to be a little bit spontaneous, and if something good comes up and it's in a random period, sometimes we just got to grab it because opportunity is there.
Linda Scott-Hayward, great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for that advice, and appreciate the tips on how to scrape back just a little bit of saving, at least, on what has become a very, very expensive proposition.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.